In today's video, we will look at the life of one of history's greatest generals. We'll be looking at the accomplishments and strategies of Subutai Bahadur. Enjoy! Early life historians believe Subutai was born in the year 1175, probably just west of the upper Anan River in what is now Mongolia. Some historical accounts claim that he belonged to the Uriankai clan. As a member of the reindeer people, according to these accounts, Subutai lacked the natural horsemanship training from birth that all Mongols possessed, making him an outsider among them. However, recent scholarship has discounted this earlier narrative. Stephen Poe and Jingjing Liao note that the sense of irony conjured by imagining that the Mongol Empire's greatest general was a reindeer-herding outsider to steppe nomadic culture has a strong literary appeal to modern authors. In fact, Subutai's family had been associated with the family of Temujin, future Genghis Khan, for many generations. Subutai's great-great-grandfather, Nurbi, was supposedly an ally of the Mongol Khan Tumbina Setchon. Subutai's father, Jarkigudai, supposedly supplied food to Temujin and his followers when they were in dire straits at Lake Baljuna. And Subutai's elder brother Jelm also served as a general in the Mongol army and a close companion of Temujin. Gelmay rescued a severely wounded Temujin hit by an arrow from Gib, then an enemy, in the process of unification of the Mongolian plateau. Another brother, Chorkan, also Romanized as Karkan, is mentioned in the secret history of the Mongols. According to Subutai's biography in the History of Yuan, Subutai's father, Jarkigudai, was once driving a herd of sheep in order to present them to his overlord, Taizu Genghis Khan. Encountering robbers, he was seized. Hulahun, Subutai's brother, and Subutai arrived in good time, and with their lances stabbed some of the robbers. Horses and men fell together, and the remainder of the band withdrew and departed. Consequently, they relieved their father's difficulty, and the sheep were able to attain the emperor's station. Despite this close family association, some consider Subutai's career proof that the Mongol Empire was a meritocracy. He was a commoner by birth, the son of Jarkigudai, who was supposedly a blacksmith. When he was 14 years old, Subutai left his clan to join Temujin's army, following in the footsteps of his older brother, Gelmay, who had joined when he was 17 years old, and he rose to the very highest command available to one who was not a blood relative to Genghis. Within a decade, he rose to become a general, in command of one of 4 tumans operating in the vanguard. During the invasion of northern China in 1211, Subutai was partnered with the senior Mongol general Jib. An apprentice and partnership they would maintain until Jib's death in 1223. In 1212, he took one by storm, the first major independent exploit mentioned in the sources. Genghis Khan is reported to have called him one of his dogs of war, who were 4 of his 8 top lieutenants. In the secret history of the Mongols, they are the 4 dogs of Temujin. Genghis Khan stated, "They have foreheads of brass, their jaws are like scissors, their tongues like piercing awls, their heads are iron, their whipping tails swords. In the day of battle, they devour enemy flesh. Behold, they are now unleashed, and they slobber at the mouth with glee." These 4 dogs are Jeb and Kublai Barlas, different than Kublai Khan, Gelmay, and Subutai. The secret history of the Mongols appointed to the prestigious post of Genghis Khan's Yort Dorgard during his teen years. Mongol histories say that Subutai said to Genghis Khan, "I will ward off your enemies, as felt cloth protects one from the wind." This access enabled him to listen in on, and later join, the Mongol strategy meetings somewhere around his late teens and early 20s. Throughout most of Genghis Khan's lifetime, Subutai would have the opportunity to apprentice on detached missions under the elite Jib and Mukhali. In addition to Genghis Khan himself, Subutai's first chance at independent command came in 1197 during action against the Merkit, when he was 22 years old. Subutai's role was to act as the vanguard and defeat one of the Merkit camps at the Chen River. Subutai refused Genghis Khan's offer for extra elite troops, and instead traveled to the Merkit camp alone, posing as a Mongol deserter. Subutai managed to convince the Merkits that the main Mongol army was far away, and they were in no danger. As a result, the Merkit lowered their guard and limited their patrols, allowing the Mongols to easily surprise and encircle the Merkits, capturing 2 generals. He also served as a commander of the vanguard with distinction in the 1204 battle against the Naiman that gave the Mongols total control over Mongolia. As a general, Subutai was a major innovator in the art of war. In the invasions of China, Russia, and Europe, Subutai routinely coordinated large forces, often separated by large distances. Subutai's maneuvers were designed to mislead his foes and strike them from unexpected directions. The Mongol invasion of the Jin in 1232 continually pulled the hitherto successful Jin forces apart despite their highly advantageous terrain, as they could not determine which Mongol armies were the feints and which were the true threat, until their main army became isolated and starved. Strongly fortified locations would be bypassed and ignored until all organized resistance had been destroyed. Sieges would be limited to critical or vulnerable locations. In other situations, the Mongols either left a blockading force or simply ignored fortified citadels and destroyed the surrounding agriculture so that the remaining people would starve if they remained within fortified walls. In contrast to the common perception of steppe horse archer armies slowly weakening their foes with arrows for many hours or even days, such as at the Battle of Karhay or the Battle of Manzikert, Subutai fought in a much more decisive and fluid manner, where heavy firepower was used to create openings for rapid cavalry charges with deep formations. At the Battle of the Kalka River in 1223, Subutai's 20,000-man army routed the 80,000-man Russian army by stringing it out after a 9-day retreat, and then immediately turning and delivering a decisive charge without a prolonged missile bombardment. The vanguard of the Russian army was already put in flight before the second wave even reached the battlefield and began to deploy. Subutai was one of the first Mongol generals, alongside Genghis Khan, who realized the value of engineers in siege warfare. Even in field battles, he made use of siege engines. In the Battle of Mohi, the Hungarian crossbowmen repelled a night bridge crossing by the Mongols, and inflicted considerable casualties on the Mongols fighting to cross the river the following day. Subutai ordered huge stone throwers to clear the bank of Hungarian crossbowmen and open the way for his light cavalry to cross the river without further losses. This use of siege weapons was one of the first recorded uses of artillery bombardments to disrupt the enemy before an attack. In execution, his usage functioned more akin to the creeping barrage of World War I, used to soften and disrupt enemy lines right before an attack. Like Genghis Khan, Subutai was a master at creating divisions within the enemy ranks and surprising them. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe, and we will see you next time on History Dude BC.